All right, so let's get this done. I forgot to check the time before I hit go again. But yeah, let's rock and roll, Sweet Susie. What movie is that one from? I rock and I roll, Sweet Susie. Let's see if anybody knows that movie. Oh, that movie is so funny. Okay, face to foot style. Okay, mark all in-play bands as unfinished. Okay, they already are. Player may spend resources to buy a new band counter. Now this is the interesting part. There's a part of me that thinks that maybe what I want to do here is buy a new band here and then just constantly like move them to the other locations, right? So A is sort of like where my babies get born, and then as they grow up, they move to the other ones. It's not a bad idea. So yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna spend a captive and basically recruit them in as another unit, like so. Now, if I wanted to do it again, I would have to spend 1 + 1. I'd have to spend 2 points to do the next one. And you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna spend 2 points. 2 points. And let's get another one. Okay. Now I can spend resources to upgrade my bands. So just so you know, I only have 1 2 strength band here. So I will spend 1 captive and upgrade one of these to a 2 strength. So then the idea is I'll probably take one of these 2s and move him like to ranch area E to help defend it better. That's not a bad move at all. So then I have 2 units defending ranch E, and ranch E could probably survive a little bit better. Okay, so we're done. I'm not going to spend any more resources or anything. Now I can move or place a new ranch area. I can't do that. All the ranch areas are on the board. I may voluntarily retire a Bob to transfer his strength to the Paraibo. And that's exactly my plan here. So this Bob's going to retire so he can go up to 6. So then I'm going to do the death checks, and that wonderful 6 that I just got is going to get destroyed. So they're going to start with ranch E. This is the Bob at strength 4. Good. Now we're going to do the Paraibo at strength 3. Okay, so he's going to drop he's dropping 1 level. Okay, this is a Bob at strength 1. And then a, you know what? I don't even need to roll. The Paraibo's at strength 1. They're not going to get lower. There's, so actually what I'm going to do, because that's silly, I'm going to kill my Bobs. Because they're strength 1, so they suck. So those are going to be gone. Now this is a Paraibo at 2. Paraibo gets reduced to 1. Paraibo at 2. And I forgot to roll for the Bob at 2. Bob at 2 is fine. So now this is the Paraibo at 6. Let's go. I got a 4. I think I'm going to take that. A 4 is pretty good. So I have 4 spots there. All right. So now we got to roll for the Bobs that are all dead. So this is the one for D. So that Bob is at strength 2. Now C. That Bob is at strength 3. And then now Bob A. That would be strength 1. I'm going to spend a trade good to roll again. There we go. The Bob's strength 2. All all the success counters go back in the cup. This is big for us. Every tribe or settlement with a Ravage token is removed. And we do have one. It is this settlement here, so we were able to knock yellow down and out of Llano Estacado, and I'm happy with that. If you counted the number of times that clock chimed, we would know what time it is, but I didn't do that. I'm guessing it's 10 o'clock. I don't know. We'll find out. I need to get my watch. All right. Roll die for each piece and ally counter. Okay. So we have an ally that's at 3. So that ally goes away. And he comes back on the board. And then we have an ally at 5. And he stays. And then we're going to put a bison on the board at 2, which is Lower Arkansas. Ooh, yeah, we're definitely doing that. And the bison's going to go, I think, do we get to choose? Yeah, we get to choose, don't we? Yes, we do. All right, well, I'm going to put him right next to my Comancheria there. And then the development cards get discarded, and we're going to do 3 more. And we get to buy, and then here you go, I'm going to buy this level 3. So during the Warpath action, if I draw at least 1 success counter, I get to place a bonus Ravage counter on this place. So however many Ravage counters I get to place, I get to add 1 more. So now the Warpath instead of the raid becomes very, very powerful. So, so I'm going to do that, and yes. The passage of time marker goes up. So we have at least 1 more passage of time that's going to happen before a victory check is even possible. And right now we're not satisfying the victory check because we don't control 2 territories. So this little development card caused all kinds of problems for us. So now we're drawing 3 more. Let's see what happens. Severe Winter. Remove all bison counters from Upper and Lower Arkansas. Well, that just removes the one we just added. It's a bit of a bummer. Disease. Target 1 in-play Rancheria. Reduce strength of all bands in that Rancheria by 1. Discard this card. Do not draw another. Oh, come on. So A, B, C, D, E. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2. So the B got targeted. So everything's reduced by 1. So this 2 becomes that 1 dies. And this 3 becomes the 2. So I'm just going to take the 3 off the board. All right. And San Saba Mission. When revealed, South subjugates 1 tribe, even if Ravage counters are in play. Then South places an available settlement into the subjugated space. If no tribe for South to subjugate, South settles twice. Discard and do not draw another. South does get to subjugate. And then it says South settles, right? So there we go. Well, actually, South would settle here. Nope, it says in the subjugated space, so that would be there. Okay, so South, you know, we sort of don't worry about South too much, but if they ever get a culture action, we are in a bit of a pickle. Oh, and then I forgot to spend the culture points. 1, 2, 3. So we can buy that warfare card. So here's the thing that's pretty cool. We're accumulating cards at a nice little pace. And because we get a lot of culture points now, we can basically buy whatever we want. And the only thing that's holding us back is just we can only buy 1 at a time. So I can try to get like spirituality ones, which actually aren't bad. But I think also it'd be nice to get maybe some politics, things that would like manipulate the war band. This one, I'm not a big fan of. Yeah, this one might help once we get the question mark counters, but until then, I just don't see value in it. The diplomacy ones, we get to flip instruction counters, which might be helpful. Here we get to remove a piece and just put it on the map. That's what I'm saying. We can end a war that way. The thing is that we're being raided right now by the North, and there is no peace token on the North. So, oh, but there is ally. Never mind. There's an ally token. So we could... Yeah. All right. I don't want to waste too much time on this because we got to get to another passage of time before we even have to worry about what next card we're going to buy. But right now, we're poised to put a lot of Ravage tokens out and be really efficient at it. So I'm good with that. And like as always, now we're going to draw from the cup, and the enemy's going to get an action. All right, so we draw 4 APs. That sucks. All right, so who gets the action? The North does. So we get a raid. And I think if I remember correctly, so that raid's 4 APs. I'm sorry, 3 APs. So if I remember correctly, the column gets to move towards us because of that. So they moved 1 space towards us. And they do have 3 APs left, and this one costs 4. So they are done, and now we're at the start of the turn. So it's time for war columns. And so let's see, and we don't have the horseshoe anymore. So they are moving 1 space, and they're going to attack us. So now the question is, do I have the cojones to do the battle? I sort of wanted to activate Rancheria A and move a unit to them, so they had 2 units in their space before I did this. And then, of course, it'd be nice to have some guns. So maybe that's the next thing we buy, is the ability to get guns. They actually attack allied tribes. I keep forgetting about that because there was an allied tribe here and it was just 1 space away. So instead of them attacking us, they would have attacked the allied tribe. That was a mistake I made. In fact, we might have been able to save 2 military points that way because they actually would have done a battle. So I'm going to do that. I'm sorry, but that was actually what was supposed to happen. So when I move this Rancheria to here, they were supposed to move to the allied tribe and attack that because that's closer than moving here and attacking me. So we're going to do 1 quick battle with the allied tribe because this was an allied tribe. During the planning phase, we lost it. But during the last round, we would have had it. So let's do 1 quick battle. They get a +2 to their die roll because they're an allied tribe. Okay? So we would... yeah, all that would happen is the battle ends, but the war doesn't. So let's just roll real quick. This is a 3 plus a 2 is a 5. It failed. So what would have happened is the ally would have moved to the bottom, which you see right there. It is near the bottom. And yeah, nothing would have changed. And then they would have sat there, and then they would have moved. Yeah, so we're being attacked. So the only thing I was hoping for is there was a chance that they would have reduced the strength of this by 1, and then it would actually have been dead. Okay, so it's our turn, and I'm risking so much. I mean, no matter what, I lose a military point, even if I do the battle. I wish I had a trade good or something. Oh, I'm going to spend 2 military points, and then it ends the war because we reduced it to 0. I'm going to roll just for shits and giggles, if you'll allow me. We would have won. It's okay. It's okay, Jeff. You can cry later. All right, so war is over. We took the conservative route. There was nothing I could do. That was it doesn't say to discard this card, but there's no reason for this card to be here, so I'm discarding it. Okay. Okay, war column phase is over. Military points is as low as it goes. Let's do... We're going to do a culture step, first turn. So I have A, B, C, D, and E. So that's 5 culture points. And I control Upper Arkansas, so that's 6. So 3 plus 6 is I shoot all the way up to 9. Exactly the plan. All right. And there's no free instructions for them. This is going to move up by 1. And now we're going to see... Jesus, they get more actions. I rolled a 6. This is the south. So they're going to do a subjugate for 4. So here's 3 and spending 1 on the board to subjugate. And can they? Yes, they can. Bob the Builder. Yes, we can. So this one's destroyed. And that one was actually right next to us. So that's sort of doing us a favor. Until, of course, the settlement appears. But they have 2 action points left, so they can't do anything else, so their turn is over. All right, so now we go back to the beginning. There's no war columns, and it's now time for us to take action. So I got the culture points up, so now I'm going to activate Rancheria B. And I think what stinks is this dropped to a 1, if I remember correctly. So Rancheria B is going to do the 1-6. We're going to take Bob with us, or Rob. And of course, a horse is always coming with us. So we're going to spend 2 movement points to go out and back, and we're going to attack that lower Arkansas. And we're going to do this warpath thing. So we're going to get to draw an extra success check for that. And this allows us to put a bonus ravage counter. So we're going to them. All right, so Bob is only a 2. So nothing is added for Bob. So we're going to be drawing 2 chits. And I get to do this 4 times because I have 4 movement points. So there's 1. And that lets me put 2 ravage counters on him. I'm going to go again. Bob's rolling. It was on... Oh, Bob doesn't add anything, so we're going to draw 2 more. And there's another success. And that goes on Bob's spot. And 2 more ravage counters goes on to him. So he's up to 4. So this is where actually the warfare combined with that tactic card actually is not so bad now. It's because once the 4th one's placed, they're destroyed. I can sort of see how this is now becoming useful because when you have these, this becomes very powerful. But I actually, in my honest opinion, if you want my advice on this game, I don't want to destroy the tribe. I want to put a shit ton of ravage tokens on it. And then whenever it's their turn to go, they spend all these action points just doing nothing but removing them. I mean, you basically want to make them drowning so bad that they can't do anything but just try to get back to get air. And that's how you want to play this game, because now you put your thumb, my thumb is on them right now. And there's nothing that the North is going to do except just try to remove 4 tokens. And I still have 2 more raids to do, and I'm trying to decide, do I want to put more on? We are component limited, so we don't have that many more, but I am going to do it again. Screw these guys. I don't like them. They can kiss my derriere. So I'm going to go again. And Bob isn't helping, but I'm going to draw 2 more, and let's get another success token. And there it is. I got another one. So 2 more is going on to this sucker. So he's up to 6 Ravage tokens. And as far as I'm concerned, he can stick it. So I am going to stop, though. And we're going to go ahead and mark this guy unfinished. And the only difference is, of course, is I didn't get any civilians or anything, but I'm okay with that. So we're going to mark him unfinished, put him in B. And for now, we're just going to rest and know that his world just became a lot more miserable. So the operation token moves up. We're rolling for their free instruction. Unless it was a 1, they don't get one. And now we're going to draw for their action. And we drew a success. However, there's plenty of action points there. So we are activating the North and the 2 flips. So this one flips to something that costs more action points, and I'm okay with that. So here's 4 action points for this one and 4 action points for that one. And we know they're going to just be removing tokens, so I'm just spending the points, and now they're going to try to remove 2 tokens. A 1, 2, or 3 removes 1. And look at that. The dice finally go our way. So the North, I'm trying to keep it as PG-13 as I can. So I will not extend any fingers towards them. But they're going to sit there with the 6 Ravage tokens, and they're going to like it. Okay, so we get to the end. Now we go to the beginning. There's no war columns, and it's action time again. So I want to do actions now, but this time with A, Rancheria A, and what's interesting is I really don't even have that much to raid. I mean, I could raid the enemy square space, but that doesn't, putting Ravage tokens on that doesn't do anything. That enemy square is impossible to hurt. The reason I wanted to activate A is because, see, look, I got all these guys, and I wanted to send one of them down to Ranch E to help them out so they can defend in case another warband comes. So this is interesting. What else can I do? This guy's an ally, so we don't necessarily want to go after him. E isn't near anybody at the moment because we sort of ran away, and B moved up to here, so he's not able to help down there, at least not as easily. Yeah, I do want to activate A. Let's see what we want to do here. So we got to put 4 of them in. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I can tell you with certainty, this guy with the 2 strength is going to go to E. And I'm going to take the bison with me, so that way we at least have 1 population point. And E is done. E could actually hunt, so there was no reason to send that bison there. But we're going to do it anyways. Okay, so E's done. So now the question just becomes, what do I want to do with the rest of them? If I want to raid A and raid an actual settlement, it's going to cost me 3 movement points just to get to the settlement. So raiding doesn't work. I do have 2 captives though, so I can trade. And I'm allowed to trade with E because there's no Ravage tokens on yellow at the moment. So I'm just going to take one of these 1-6s and we'll mark him as finish. And the rest of the guys are going to stay unfinished. And that 2 up here, by the way, is finish. And then these 2 captives are going to get exchanged. Yeah, I do need food. I mean, I wanted to get trade goods maybe, but it's a sort of a wasted action. However, I'm not giving them AP points by doing this, so I'm not too concerned about that. I'm actually weirdly in a spot where I can't raid anything. So yeah, I'm gonna just do that and call it. I actually want the passage of time to come quickly this time. So I'm gonna stop and yeah, I keep forgetting. I think there was one time I wanted the passage of time to come and I kept letting it roll. I forgot, I can actually do the passage of time as a deliberate action. All right, so I'm at the end of my thing. So this moves up. And free instruction. There's 3 of them that have 1 finished. So if I roll a 1 with any of these, they get a free instruction. Okay, so not happening. And now, yeah, I would like to do maybe a planning step, although a couple of my guys would die if I do that. But if I do a planning step, I can spend culture points to get military points. That would be nice. It'd be nice to raid a little bit more. But anyways, let's draw for their action. They get 4 APs. So who's the lucky guy? It's going to be the West. And I roll 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And there it is. This one hurts. Culture. That costs 3. And they have 1, 2, 3 extra settlements. So we lose 4 culture points. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4. We're dropped to 5. The good news is we could absorb it. No problem. And this actually is helping us right here because they're going to settle now. Nope. They're 1 AP short from settling. And the reason I was saying that was going to help us is because if they settle, they're going to settle next to us, and then we're going to just raid the crap out of them. But that's not going to be the case. So now we go to the next turn. We're in the war column phase. There's nothing to do. So I got to decide what I'm going to do here. I'm not within enough movement points to raid anything. I could raid the enemy square space. I can't put ravage tokens on them, but I could take like civilians. I'm not super thrilled with that option. I could have moved one of these guys. Actually, that was one of the things I think I wanted to do. Crap. I wanted to maybe move another one of these guys over to D. But that's okay. We're going to have to let it go for now. I think I'm going to call for the passage of time. Yeah, I'm going to call for the passage of time. So we're going to do that. And this is going to reset. And then, of course, this is going to move up, although not yet, but it will. And let's do passage of time again. All right, everybody becomes unfinished. We know all the success tokens are going back in the cup. We can we can buy a unit by spending a population point. I don't think I want to buy a unit with anybody. We can upgrade the strength of something with a population point. So I think I might want to, with B, I might spend a food to move that one guy back to 3 strength. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. This food is going to be spent to move this to a 3 strength. I'm going to move this to a 2 strength. Now, I think the thing that hurts is the 1 strength guy was actually quite powerful at ravaging the crap out of the tribe, but I'm going to leave it B for now. I want B to be strong. I don't want to lose B to anybody. Okay. Next, we can create a rancheria. Can't do that. We can voluntarily retire, and we're going to do that in several places here. He's going to retire to move him to a 2, to a 3, to a 2, and to a 4. I'm going to retire all of them, but 1. So now we got to do the roll here. This is a 4 per IBO, a 2 per IBO, a 3 per IBO, a 2 per IBO. Oh, come on. B got reduced to 1 again. And then this is a 4 per IBO, and it was a 4. That was probably the most important roll of all. Oh, and then this is a 2 bob. So the bob stays too. All right, so now we're going to start at E. The bob becomes a 2. This bob becomes a 2. This bob becomes a 1. And this bob becomes a 3. All right, done. So I know I did some things a little out of order, but that's okay. Ravage token is destroyed. This tribe was nuked. They didn't even have nukes back then, but the Comancherian scientists figured out a way to combine bison manure to nuke that tribe. To this day, there's a canyon, and nobody goes near it. Say we're going to roll a die for the ally. Ally stays. I'm going to roll a die for the bison. That was on the table. Oh, I keep getting it on the board. It goes into 3. And there is a spot for the bison at 3, so he'll get 1. And the development cards, and then we can buy a culture card. All right, so which culture card do we want to buy? I thought I had it figured out. Maybe the one for guns. It's not a bad deal, the one for guns. I think, though, I'm going to get the horsemanship because I keep not getting it and then wishing I had it. So that gives us a +1 if we have horses, and we always seem to have horses. So this is a good buy. And it only costs us 1, so we're down to 4 culture points. All right. The horsemanship level 2 and 3 actually has, like this one, we can mark an unfinished band, which has not yet spent any movement points, as finished. And then get an extra horse counter. This one's not that good, if you ask me. It just, you get a free horse. But here, if you have a horse, you get to add 2 movement points. So your 6 movement guy becomes an 8. And this is a big deal because how many times have we said we're just 1 movement point short or whatever? So a level 3 horse actually can be quite helpful, especially now that we're pushing the enemy away. Okay, I think we're at the end there, so we're going to draw 3 development cards. And I already pushed up the passage of time. So now the next time passage of time occurs, we're going to roll a die to see if a victory check happens. So, Cuerna Verde. When revealed, increase the medicine of any bob to 6. Ooh. Whose bob are we going to increase to 6? And then when in play, no bob with medicine 6 may retire. If during the passage of time, advance passage of time 1 space forward. So it's increasing the victory check. Ooh, whose bob are we going to go up? See, we got this problem where no one's near us. And we're too far away from anything to be able to raid. I guess D could raid. D is close enough to raid. Should we increase his bob to 6? My answer is no. I'm going to increase the A to 6. We always like bob being at 6. That's the original bob. All right, next one. Spend an AP to take into hand, and then during planning, a headman action. Spend 1 AP to either look at the next 3 cards in the deck and place the viewed cards back on top in the same order, or look at the top card and either place it on top, or if the card number is not marked with a star, I guess that's this, place it on the bottom. In either case, do not trigger any, that's so much effort. Spend 1 AP. In lieu of making a success check, counts as a success. And if I don't get this card in my hand, it's going to cause the passage of time to move 1 extra space. I like this no matter what. Don't care about the passage of time thing. I just really like that card. Okay, so there's no free instructions for them to do, and we're going to go ahead and draw and see if they get any bonus actions here. And we get a success. So they do have 3 action points over here on the board. So we are going to roll. I rolled a 1, so that means the north is going to activate. And a 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This war flips over. And they don't actually do anything. They don't have enough action points. So that's all that happens. And then there's no war columns, so we're moving on to our turn. There's no war columns, and then it gets down to us. There's a part of me that thinks I should do a culture action here first. But I'm not going to. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to activate D. D has just 1 unit. It was supposed to have 2 because remember I wanted to move somebody to D, but it only has 1 unit and 1 horse. So we're going to take the horse and Bob and that 3 strength unit, and we are going to raid here. And are we going to raid, or are we going to do the warfare thing? Let me think about this. If I raid them, I can get some civilization points. Yeah, let's raid them. We're going to raid them. So I know we don't get to do this. Well, maybe this might be nice because I get to add extra ravage counters to them. Now, the reason I want to do raid is so I can get captives, and then I can spend those to get more units, right? So then I can get more units in D. There's plenty of units still to hire here. So there's no harm in having at least 1 more unit there. That's the reason why a captive might be nice. I may never get to trade the captive, but I could at least, I mean, it's worth a population point, right? This is nice because I'm adding 2 ravage counters. But you know what? I can do both. I don't have to choose. So it's going to be 2 points to move out and back. One of those points is going to be a raid. The other one is going to be a warfare. Genius. So we're going to do the raid first, though. And Bob is a 2. So Bob doesn't add anything, but it is a 3 strength unit. So we're going to grab 3. Here's 2 of them. And a 3rd one. Well, we already got a success. And there's a bunch of action points for the enemy. So the 1 success is nice. And what was this again? This was D. So that goes on the Bob track. And we get to grab a captive. So I also need a horse. You know that? I actually need a horse too. So we're not going to do warfare. We're going to just raid twice. So there's a ravage token, and let's raid again. Oh, I got to roll for Bob. Bob doesn't do anything. It's because that's shish kebab, not regular Bob. And here's 1, 2, and 3. Whew, we got lucky. All right. And then I'm going to take a horse. Because if I'm going to hire another guy, I need a horse for him. So now we got a second horse in that area. So I can hire a guy and I'll have 2 horses. So that looks like a deal. And yes, instead of 4 ravage counters, I only have 2 on him, but that's okay. All right, so now he is finished. And nothing happens. Rolling for the enemy. Or not rolling, but giving them more action points. And then who's the lucky guy? It's going to be the north. And then a 3. So 1, 2, 3. All right, so we have an encroach for 5. So 5 points for that. And let's roll a die. I rolled a 2. Oh no! No, 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 no! They're encroaching us. And so the tribe, do we pick where it goes? Player's choice. So I'm going to pick right next to us. So they just went into Lower Arkansas and ruined our day again. Okay, next one is an ally. So that costs 3. So now the ally is coming out, and it's actually going to probably go on a non-allied tribe, my choice. Okay, so here's the weird thing about this. If I put it on the Lower Arkansas one, we would still actually have control of the region because he's an ally. However, during the passage of time, we roll the ally check before we do the victory check. So if this ally roll goes bad for us, then we would he would no longer become an ally, and then we would fail the victory check, and that's game over for us. So I'm not putting an ally on that particular one in Lower Arkansas. I'm going to do it somewhere else. And I think I'm going to do it here again. So that way a warband would attack that way. Okay, so let's keep going. 2 enemy action points to hunt. There's not a lot out there to hunt anymore, so I rolled a 1. And the way the rule works is, see, there's no bison in the 1, so then you go to the 2. Nothing there. So then we go to 3, and there is something there, so we can kill a bison from 3. And there's another hunt for 4. And I'm going to roll. I rolled a 2. So now the bison next to D gets killed. Look at all the bison gone. It's just like history. And they actually have 3 action points off the camera or on the board, but it doesn't matter. They're done. Okay, so that's it for them. And now we move to the next turn. And somewhere in there, I forgot to move this up. All right, so next turn, I think what I want to do is I want to raid again. This time, we got to get the Lower Arkansas out. So we're going to activate Rancheria B. And as you can see here, I'm a little bit hampered. So I'm going to use this one. It's going to be a movement point to go out and back. So that's 2. I only have 3 movement points left. And the problem is, it cost me 2 movement points to do the special warfare thing. Or I can do a raid. So I actually have 3 movement points. So I can do a raid and a warfare, okay? So we're going to do the raid first. No, we're going to do the warfare first. So the warfare is, I have to spend 2 movement points, which is fine. He has them. And then I get to draw 2 plus 1 more for 3. So let's do that. So 1, 2, 3, and whatever else is in my hand is going back in the cup. And there's 2 successes. So that's sort of nice. Those go there. And I don't get anything from here, but the 2 successes translate to 2 Ravage tokens, and then I actually get to put a 3rd because of the Warfare level 3. So So we get to put 3 Ravage tokens on him. And now I get to rate him. So we're going to rate him. And I'm going to roll for Bob, which is a 3. And Bob adds 1 more, so I get to draw 3 more. 1, 2, and 3. And the reason I rated him is I only had 1 movement point left. So I can't do this because this costs 2. So I had to rate him. And so that unit is finished. And I had 2 successes, so I'm going to grab 2 captives. Like so. And yeah, that's it. And I only had spot to activate 1 guy, so it doesn't do me any good. But I do get to put another Ravage token on him. So he's up to 4. All right, so now it's the end of my turn. I have 2 of them that have 1 finished guy. So if I roll 1, nothing happens. Now I get to roll for his actions. And he gets 2 more. So let's see who does actions. I rolled a 5. It's going to be the South. So the South has a settle for 3. And we do have the ability to settle. Green does. And they're going to settle here. All right. And next is a peace for 3. So this is 4. All right, so the peace for 3, I don't think it really matters, but yes, I'm at peace with somebody, so I'll make it this one. And then the next one is a war for 4, which is funny. So the war is just going to cancel the peace. And they do have 4 points, by the way, off the board. So that war is going to cancel the peace. So the peace is going to come back in. Like so. All right, that's their turn. Now we move on. Did I forget? Yes, I did. I forgot to move this again. So now we're in the next round. There's no war columns out there. It is now our turn, and we are going to do a culture action. So, boom, we're going up to 9. We definitely get 5 points. There's no argument there. And so in doing so, this is moving up to there, and they get to check for a free action. They do get one. 5 is the South, and then I rolled a 5 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that flips. All right, so they're going to do a subjugate for free. And there is actually still somebody to subjugate for them. That's this one. So that tribe is removed. They don't have any more subjugates left to do. We need the North to add more tribes for them, but that's not happening. Okay, so now we're going to draw for their action. And they get 2 APs. So who's the lucky candidate? It is the West. And 2. So the West is flipping this back to peace. All right, so there's only 2 APs. This costs 4, so they're just going to get 2 APs on the board, and they don't actually do any actions. Okay, so that's done. All right, no war columns. It's back to our turn. I think I want to do a planning. And the reason I want to do a planning is because I have a lot of success counters out there on the Bob tracks. The funny thing is that these Paraibos are, they're probably going to get reduced down again when we do the die roll. But the planning is also going to help us move our rancherias, and I think there's some value in that. I made a mistake. I put this guy here. I should have put him there. And the reason being is I wanted to move the rancheria here so I can create some ruckus. And now, because he's there, I'm blocked from moving. That was not a smart move for me. But it is what it is. The other thing is I don't want to move A anymore because A needs to stay in Upper Arkansas because we're defending Upper Arkansas. So obviously when an enemy from the east starts coming in, Upper Arkansas is in a lot of trouble up here and down there. So our lives are going to become a little bit more miserable. Just so everybody understands, we didn't talk about this much, but this space here, you can put a rancheria here and it's safe. It can never be attacked by anybody. And because we can follow dotted lines, we can go anywhere we choose. So for one movement point, it can go here or there, right? But the problem is when I do a culture step, I don't gain any culture because this is not a territory. I don't get anything for it. But I can keep a rancheria there if I wanted and in that canyon, and I'm basically, I can never lose it. And the only thing that can happen, and even the war columns can't even come after me because these are dotted lines, so only the north war columns could come after me, but any of the east, west, or south can't. Now there's also this reservation space, and that's more for the history level 3 and 4, which right now we're in history level 2, so that's the reason why we're not experiencing that anymore. Okay, so to move on, I was wondering if I should do planning, and I think the answer is yes, because we can get some. Yes, the answer is yes. I want to give myself some military points. That's why. So yeah, we're gonna plan, and I'm running low on battery power, so I gotta take my cord, which, as you guys may know, is a little on the short side, and I'm plugging it in, and I'm going to be a little bit limited in what I can do. Sorry, I got a text. I'm responding. I know, awful thing to do when I'm recording, but okay, here we go. So I'm going to be reading to you things because my cord's limited. I don't want to lose my, I was down to 10% battery here. So all any bobs get, so most of the action's happening here. So the bobs here, this bob's going to get a +1 and that bob's going to get a +1 because they have successes. So then the first one goes here, and then the bob goes up, and then it goes here, and then the bob goes up. So that bob's a level 6. And then same thing here, going to go down, and then this bob's going to go up. These success markers are all going to go on the operation track, and they have to be on a unique space. So I'm going to just put them on 4, 5, and 6. And then, of course, these ones cause the Paraibo to go up, and then they go out of play. So the Paraibo finally got up to a respectable level for those guys. Okay, the one thing that's challenging with this game is you can get your bob and your Paraibo up really high through the planning step, but it requires getting success tokens first, right? So by the time you get these guys up high, now the passage of time is coming. So you don't get to really enjoy actions with really good and strong medicine men and Paraibos. And it's funny, but I guess that's realistic too. By the time your guys get wise, they die of a heart attack. Okay, so moving on. So now we get to conduct headman actions. So right now we know we're going to get 5 actions, or I can roll a die to get even more. Obviously the die roll is risky, but I'm going to do it with this guy right here. So we're going to roll a die, and as long as I don't get more than a 4, we're great. And I did. So then I'm going to do the trade goods. Let's try again. Crap, it's a 1. I still get an action with it, but it's not, I don't get any extra actions, and I lost a trade good in the process. So 5 actions, and off we go. So we can buy one of these cards for an action point. I have 3 action points, and I think I wanted to buy one of these. Yeah, this one is in lieu of a success check. So we'll buy this for 1 action point. That is one of my 5 actions. And then I'm going to spend 4 actions lowering our culture by 4 and raising the military by 4. So I'm going to go from 9 to 8, and the military goes to 3. And then to 7, military goes to 4. And then to 6, military goes to 5. And then down to 5, military goes to 6. So that's all my actions right there. And we're good to go. I still have 2 APs left, and we're done. Well, hold on, we're not done. Let me go back. All finished bands lose 1 strength. So, for example, this 2 goes back down to a 1, which is actually not bad, because remember we said we sort of liked him as a 1. And this 3 gets reduced to a 2, which I'm not sure what to think about that. What would have happened if I had to reduce a 3 to a 2 and there was no 2s available? I honestly don't know. I'm certainly not going to reduce them to a 1. Okay. Now we can move all of our rancherias, and then the enemy gets to execute a free instruction, and then we're going to roll a die for passage of time check. So the passage of time check is a 3. Let's do that now. I rolled a 6, so we aren't doing passage of time, so we're going to move up, and a success from the operations track goes into the cup. Okay, so enemy is going to get to do a free instruction, but we get to move still. So I'm looking at our possibilities, and I know I'm on a short cord here, but remember we can't move A. C is sort of stuck because there's this ally here, and we can't move through the ally. At least I don't think we can. Let me check, because if I can move through that ally, then things change. Let me check. You may not enter enemy spaces, but you may pass through peace spaces. Never mind, I can move. So let's move C. C has 3 strengths, so we can move 3 spaces. So I'm going to move C to here, and then that gets us more into the thick of clearing out this area. And then I'm going to move E back to here again, so we can take on some stuff. I think I need to get closer because I was at a point where I couldn't even raid anybody. And so now I'm closer so I can raid some people. E, where E was actually not a bad idea, because if green gets another settlement, I can start raiding the crap out of green, but I don't know how soon that's going to happen. All right, so now they get a free instruction, so I'm going to roll. I rolled a 3, and that's going to be the west. And then I rolled a 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I know the numbers are here, but it's just easier for me to count than try to match. Okay, so they get a free instruction, which is settle. But they have a Ravage token, so I'm just going to move everything up. And we're going to roll for the Ravage. I'm just going to roll down here. And you can see I rolled a 1, so they do lose the Ravage token. And that's it. Now, we pop out of this, and then we get to the free instructions, which doesn't happen because there's no unfinished guys anymore. And then we move to their instructions, so we're going to draw for them. And I drew 3 enemy APs. So now I rolled a 4, which is the west. And I'm going to roll again, and it's a 5, so this flips back over. And the first thing is a piece for 3 enemy APs. And they're going to, they still have a Ravage token. And I rolled a 1 again, so they got rid of all their Ravage tokens. And they do have 2 APs, but nothing's going to come out of that. And so that comes to the bottom. All right, so we go to the war column phase. Nothing happens there. And then we go to our turn. Now, I see 2 wars here, and I don't like that. So I'm going to probably raid them with my D. And the idea there is by raiding them, I'm going to get some more Ravage tokens back on them. And the D Rancheria doesn't need to raid. Instead, we're going to do the other thing. But remember, we have so here's what D has. D has a 5 movement point, and it's going to cost 2 movement points to go out and back, remember? So 2 movement points to go out and back, so he has 3 left. So we're going to do a combo. We're going to raid once, and we're going to do the warfare thing once. Because the warfare thing costs 2 movement points, because he has a 2 strength unit. We will take Shish Kebab with us, and he's a strength 4. So we're going to do the warfare thing first. So we're going to get to just draw 3 tokens. The Shish Kebab doesn't matter in that particular situation. So we're going to draw 3. And here's our 3. 1, 2, and 3. And so we did get a success. It goes on Shish Kebab's spot. And that lets us put 2 Ravage tokens on them because we're doing warfare. So 2 Ravage tokens goes back on West. And now we're going to do, I'm going to roll for Shish Kebab. I rolled a 4, so we get an extra token. So now we get to draw 3. And this one's a raid. And I didn't need to do a raid, but I already explained why. Because it's a movement point thing. So there's a success. And then more APs. And yes, there's a success. All right, so we're going to go ahead and just take another, we'll take another captive with that raid. Okay. Now, he is going to be finished, so I'll flip him over. And that's it for our actions. And now we're going to roll to see if they get a free action. The answer is no. And then we're going to draw to see. They already got a bunch of action points, but they're not going to get any more. And let's do. All right, I rolled a 5, so it's the south. And then a 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. The culture flips over. That's good. Okay, so subjugate for 4. They have nothing to subjugate. So I believe the subjugate action then flips to a, if no eligible tribe, they're going to settle. So that's even worse. So now let's see, 1, 2, 3. So they're going to settle in Colorado. It's pretty far away from us. It's just off the camera here. It's not the place that would have been next to Rancheria E. That was too many movement points away. In fact, they're going to settle Colorado. The space that was next to Rancheria E would be the last place they settle, and they still have 2. Okay, so that was that, and then they're going to subjugate again, which means they're going to settle again. So actually, this might be happening sooner than we think. So that's also in Colorado. And then we got a peace for 3. And I will go ahead and put it on there. It's off camera, but don't worry. The war is coming next. They do have 3 APs here, and then they have 2 off the board. So I'm going to be spending one of the off boards to do the war, which cancels the peace. This keeps happening. And then they're going back in that order again. So that war keeps canceling the peace. But that's fine. So that turns over. And I forgot to check, is passage of time coming? And the answer is yes. We're now in passage of time. So we go to the war column phase, nothing happens, and then we have to do passage of time. So we're going to do that now, and here we go. All bands become unfinished. So this guy's going to flip back over. We get to create new bands. So like I said, this one's going to spend a Civ point to get a 1 strength unit. And then we can spend to upgrade the strength of a unit. We do have a 3 strength unit here that's available. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the other captive and upgrade that 2 to a 3. And then I can upgrade like a 1 to a 2. And I'm going to do that down here in Ranch A. I'll spend a food for that. And that's it. I think I like the distribution everywhere else. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 1-strength bands still available for hire, but that's okay. All right. We can create a new rancheria. Not going to happen. We can retire a bob. Now, one thing I got to point out is we can't retire a 6-strength bob. It's not allowed because of this card we have. So I'm not going to retire any bobs. Actually, I'm going to retire this bob because he's only 1 strength and he's worthless. So, but everybody else stays. And then we got to do the death check, which always sucks. So as always, I'm going to start at E and work my way down. So this is a 2 bob, pass. This is a 4 Paraibo. He's dropping to a 3. And then a 4 bob is dropping to a 2. And a 3 Paraibo is dropping to a 2. This is a 3 Paraibo, stays, a 3 Paraibo, stays, and this is a 4 Paraibo, also stays. Oh, we had a 6 bob. That 6 would have been nice for him, huh? The 6 bob drops all the way down to a 1. Jesus. Okay. Then we're going to roll 2 dice for the bob that retired, and that bob goes to a 3. Okay. All success counters go back into 2 from there, and there's 1 on the operations track. And the Ravage. Okay, I know you can't see very well, but this Lower Arkansas tribe has another nuke because we had 4 Ravage counters on him, so he got nuked. And then this yellow settlement got nuked as well. We were able to remove a yellow settlement. So that's also gone. And we definitely don't lose a military point because we were able to remove 2 things. We have to roll for a piece. So this is the 3 strength piece. I rolled a 6, so this goes away. And then now we have a 5 strength. And I rolled a 5. It has to be greater, so the ally actually stays. Now, one thing I don't know is what happens if, let's say that ally failed. Look, I have all these instructions. What happens if I get another one? Where does it go? I'm going to assume that it just sits here in the inactive, and then as soon as something moves over this way, then it just rolls in. And there's always just going to be something sitting over here in the inactive box waiting to be processed. I think that's as good as any. I don't know. But it's really bizarre. And you can see that there's even more, like there's these war ones that are going to come into the game. So everybody's going to get extra ones. Or does it go in the cup? I don't understand that. If somebody knows where in a rule book or what in a rule book I missed, like what do I do when there's more instructions than there are spots? Okay, so I may check that in between videos here. Okay, so now we're going to do the bison. I rolled a 1. So good. Bison are going to come back in our region. So I'm going to put it right in the same spot as Rancheria A. We discard our development cards and get new ones. 1, 2, 3. First one. Of the discarded cards, this one moved the progression of time by 1. So that means the victory check is more likely. We now have to roll 4 or better than a 4. So here, after playing, spend 1 AP to return the card to hand. This lets you move a rancheria. I don't think it's going to matter because we're going to be probably doing a victory check here. As long as this card's in a player hand, we get to draw an extra counter during success checks. I discard if 6 or more points of enemy APs are drawn during... Well, Jesus, that's not going to last more than one check. But it's at least an interesting idea. And when revealed, remove any West war column from play. West forms war column in the West square, enemy space. Use the topmost West instruction, even if not war, with a strength counter of 8. Jesus. Remove any West war column from play. Oh, okay, a war column. West forms a war column with a strength of 8. So that means that basically Spain is going to have an 8 strength war column, and they're saying use the top token, which of course is a war token, so no concerns there. And it's going to be in the enemy square space, so that's fine. He's very powerful. And while in play, ignore enemy action table. Only West executes instructions. Jeez. I hope the victory check does happen, because then we get to get rid of this card. Spend 1 AP to take it into hand. Place any face-up West piece instruction into the West square enemy space and remove any West war column from play. So you can get rid of it, but it does require a lot of finagling. And then we're going to get to buy a culture card. So I didn't think ahead. What do I want to buy here? I'm just looking. I'm going to just take the trade so I can get guns. I think that's a nice little option. We don't need to do it per se, but it's just a nice option to have. So we're down to 4 culture points. And I apologize. I'm running out of battery, so I'm on the plug here. So I am going to quit after we resolve all this, and then make sure I'm at full strength battery before I record anymore. Okay, so now we're at the point of everybody's curiosity. If I roll a 4 or less, we're doing a victory check. And of course it dropped behind here. Go ahead and guess. Go ahead, I dare you. I'll lift that up for you. It's a 2. So victory check is definitely happening. So that means these 3 cards with that, basically saying that West goes all the time is a bunch of nonsense, because he's going away. And but he does stay on the board, that 8 column strength. However, we do a victory check. Player must control 2 territories and have a rancheria in a third. And I would say we have that. We have Upper and Lower Arkansas, and we actually have 5 rancherias on the board. So we do meet the victory condition for the second history. Now, here's what's interesting. We now move to the third one. The West and the South is still Spain, but now East is coming in as Texas. And so I'm going to grab enemy space Texas. And Texas is going to exist in 2 places. There's a blue square here for Texas. And then there's another blue square which has the trade written on it. That's also Texas. But I don't remember if that's in play yet or not. So let me check. So what's troublesome about this is that the East has 2 square spaces, so they can basically encroach us from 2 ways, and Upper and Lower Arkansas are both directly in their target. So all this comfort that we've had is no longer there. So I think this game has just gotten very hard, just for that reason alone. I mean, we were pushing back the West and the South, okay, And of course, the North we're basically obliterating, but now Texas is here, and we all know you don't mess with Texas. Okay, somewhere in here it says when the two locations come into play or when they don't. I just don't remember where I can look to see that. Dang it. I would say that's the weakest part of these rules, is the only way I know, like there's nowhere in the rules that says I'm supposed to get a new development deck and reshuffle, but it's common sense. Well, actually, there is a victory point. There's a victory check line here. Let me go back to it. Place the next history card into play. Resolve the when revealed. Remove the current history card from the game. Remove all development cards from the game. So, okay. Well, I'm not going to dwell on it at the moment, but if some of you can tell me, does Texas go into both places now, or does that happen later? I appreciate it. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and just assume they go in both places. Okay, so while we're contemplating that, let's see what our new victory objective is and what the new WoW in play is. So the new one is now on a roll of 1 to 4, they remove the recover is successful. So the recover is going to be a tad more successful than in the past. So that's going to hurt us. And then the new victory objective is we have to have the number of in-play rancherias must be greater than the number of in-play settlements. Oh. Each Comanche-controlled territory counts as... Oh, there we go. There we go. All right, so we have 5 rancherias and we control 2 territories, so we count as having 7. And I'm going to unplug you, and I think I have enough battery to deal with this. I'm going to unplug you and come over. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 just from green alone, and then that's 8, 9. So we're losing as far as the victory conditions go, and we got to somehow destroy settlements here. I think the yellow ones we're not going to be able to touch as much, or not as easily. But the green ones, we probably have to start, getting into a position where we can go after the green ones. And what I may do to move a rancheria, I may move D through here, and then back to there. So that way I still have a rancheria in the Llano Estacado. But now, because I'm here, I'm in position to really go after green. Being up there, I'm not in a position to go after much. So that's just some thoughts. So we'd have to start really getting aggressive at taking out their settlements. And then that's not counting the fact that blue's going to start putting settlements on the board. And if you look here, blue gets the actions the most, blue and south. The north and the west are actually becoming weaker. They're fading into the sunset. So, and if we look at the last card, the east is going to be predominant, and then the west is barely happening. The north doesn't happen at all, and then the south is going to be semi-strong. So there, the recover instructions remain the same. The victory check does not occur unless the passage of time is actually in the passage of time space. So therefore, you're not getting a victory check early. And then we have to see the scenario victory condition in the book. It has something to do with reservations. So once we get to here, I guess something's going to push us into reservations. So we'd have to go look at the scenario, I guess, to figure that out. And so it's definitely going to be challenging to push all those settlements back. We were always happy when they did a subjugate or whatever in the past, But now all of a sudden, that's become a problem, right? The one thing that's balancing this out is I have a really nice set of warfare cards, so I can just ravage the crap out of something, and that helps. But I think I got to get my rancherias positioned close enough to them to be able to make a difference, right? You got to get close. And then, of course, if they create a war column, that's a problem. I'm definitely quitting here, so I'm just shuffling, and then I'm going to reveal these next 3 cards. So if you're thinking you just want to move on to the next video, you're welcome to. I won't be recording that until some other time. And I'm actually running out of time because my tracker has a new game coming tomorrow. So I wanted to get that on the table, but I don't think I'm going to be able to. All right, so here we go. First one. At the end of each planning operation, we get a trade goods. Good. +1 military point for each Comanche-controlled territory. Oh, excellent. We have 2. So we get 2 military points right now. When discarded during passage of time, -1 military point for each territory which does not contain a Comanche rancheria, which there's 6 of them, and we only have 5 rancherias, so we're going to lose 1 military point. But we do get 2 right now, so that puts us up to 8, which is awesome. And this is... we can give an active band 6 movement points. Otherwise, the passage of time is going to move twice, which will hurt because we're not winning yet. Okay, that brings us to the conclusion. Well, no, it doesn't. The enemy gets to do an instruction first. So let's do that. Then we'll be concluded. Success. So they have 1 action point, so I'm going to roll. I got a 4, which means the south is going to activate, but it's not free, so then all we're doing is flipping over something. So a subjugate is flipped over to a settle, and that's it. They don't do any actual actions. Now we're done, and I will see you probably tomorrow. So thanks for watching. Stay awesome. I actually have a lot of kid activities tomorrow, but in the evening I should be able to get back to this. So we'll see you then.